performance anxiety, or stage fright. Here in the US, it's actually the #1 phobia, especially amongst musicians. Drummers I know because I talk to them every day, and playing in front of people is one of the things that they have the most anxiety about, whether that be playing in front of some friends, playing in front of a loved one, playing in front of a teacher, or playing an actual gig in front of a crowd. So this is a big deal.
Loser.
But what exactly is stage fright? So I actually filmed a video in my last studio, so you're about to see my beard magically disappear a little bit, and we're going to talk about exactly what is stage fright, like what's happening inside of us. It helps to understand what the phobia is and understand what's happening inside of us for us to be able to conquer that fear. So check this out. Let me know what you think.
As a musician, there's something you're going to have to deal with sooner or later. All of us deal with it. It's stage fright. But what exactly is stage fright? I mean, what is this thing that causes us to freak out over an event that's actually never even happened? We maybe have never experienced, but we're 100% certain it's gonna be the worst thing we've ever done. Stage fright is also called performance anxiety. And it doesn't even have to be about a performance per se with music. It can be about talking in front of a couple people or even filming a video. The good news, where I'm from here in the United States, it's the most common phobia. So don't worry. In this instance, you're completely unoriginal if you're experiencing stage fright. Like, everybody's doing it. To get over stage fright, we first have to understand what exactly it is and what causes it. Stage fright, or performance anxiety, happens to anyone whose activities brings them to the attention of an audience. And it happens when we focus on ourselves instead of focusing on the performance. It comes ultimately from thinking of the performance as more of a threat than as a challenge. There's a quote that I love by Laird Hamilton. He's an American big wave surfer. And he just said, make sure your worst enemy doesn't live in between your ears. And that's so often what happens. So exactly, let's dissect what is going on, like on the brain level, whenever we experience stage fright. Understanding it helps us get over it. The crazy thing about stage fright is it doesn't happen when you step on a stage. It starts like weeks before. You get it. Like, you get this notice, we have a show on this date and it's 2 weeks away, and you already start with the woe is me. Man, I don't know half their songs. I don't have enough time to get prepared. There's gonna be how many people there? They're gonna hate it. This is gonna be awful. What happens? I've got this problem with like sweating in my pits. What happens if I raise my arm for a crash and then they see that pit sweat? And then I go to do a drum roll and they think, well, that roll was okay, but he's got pit sweat and therefore it equals horrible. This may be the worst thing I ever do. Humans are hardwired to worry about our reputations almost above everything else. Like it's a primal thing. And once that's set in motion, it's really hard to stop those things from happening. It's actually all really natural and all very explainable. Charles Darwin went to a London zoo, and he went to a snake exhibit, and he was determined that he was gonna stick his face right up next to the glass of a puff adder that was ready to strike. But every time that puff adder struck, even though he knew he was in no danger, he grimaced and flinched. He wrote later in his diary that his will and reason were completely powerless against the imagination of a danger which he had never even experienced. We call this fight or flight, and it's designed to protect us from harm. So when we're faced with a stressful situation, our brain really isn't on that stage, and it's not in front of that classroom. It's like literally like in the desert being chased by a lion. If we want to get nerdy, whenever we're faced with a negative situation, a part of the brain called the hypothalamus activates and triggers the pituitary gland to secrete a hormone called ACTH. Now, this hormone activates the adrenal glands in your kidneys, which secretes adrenaline into your bloodstream. This is going to cause your muscles in your spine and in your neck to contract, putting you in a head-forward posture like you're either ready to run away or you're ready to fight. This is the fight or flight posture. If you try to resist this, like many of us do when we're giving a talk, we try to stand upright and put our shoulders back, you'll notice that your arms begin to shake. Your body is literally preparing for some kind of impending attack. In addition, your heart rate increases, your blood pressure increases, and your digestive system begins to shut down so that it can channel more nutrients and oxygen to the muscles that need it. That's important to know because when your digestive system shuts down, that's what triggers nausea, vomiting, dry mouth, butterflies in the stomach, or even diarrhea. Even your pupils begin to dilate and you get something called tunnel vision, which helps to eliminate peripheral vision and helps you focus, which is great, except it makes it hard to read things close up like your music or your presentation, and it makes it really easy to key in and hone in on things far away like the audience's face. And once you start to notice more of the audience and their expressions, this is what causes the downward spiral, because while most of them may be enjoying your presentation or your concert, you're only seeing the ones that are yawning or grimacing or frowning. Knowing that stage fright or performance anxiety is really just the fight or flight syndrome being activated like we're supposed to do that. It's trying to protect us. It helps us understand it a little bit. And knowing that it happens weeks before can begin to help us prepare and counteract that with activities that will actually get us ready for the presentation or concert instead of freaking out about the whole thing. Next week, I'll have another video, and it's gonna have my top tips for overcoming stage fright.